Laying Hollow End, and this time we're running up against Grixis Death Shadow. So this is our opening hand. It's a no-lander, so we're going to have to mull to 6. This is a bit better. We've got Faithless Looting to dig a little bit deeper, a couple of cyclers as well, and one half of our combo in the form of Living End. We see a mountain on top. I decided to keep that. We do want to get to our second land, but perhaps that wasn't necessary. I decided, given that we kept the land on top, that I'm just going to hold back off Faithless Looting and instead just look to cycle the Carabid end of turn, which gets us to our second land. Perhaps it would have been better just to Faithless Looting and then cycle Street Wraith, hoping we'd hit a hollow one. But it certainly would have been the faster play. Maybe we shouldn't have worried so much about hitting our second land, but things certainly can get bad if we don't hit our second land. Cracks Bauble, Inquisition takes out Faithless Looting, which is the best choice currently. We draw into a hollow one, cycle Street Wraith into Faithless Looting, and we can either pitch Living End and Urabrask, or Urabrask and Flameblade Adept. So to discard the Adept here, though that might have been a mistake in hindsight. We're kind of committed to the aggro plan here, I guess. But still, obviously I know our opponent's Death Shadow, and certainly they've got the ability to outsize us with their creatures, which I think was my thinking behind that particular line of play. Opponent Thought Scours. Fetch goes down to 8. Plays an Angler and a Death Shadow, so yeah, this is what we were kind of worried about. So we draw a Mountain for our turn, and we could flashback Faithless Looting, but we're trying to put together a 2-card combo with one of those cards in hand, so it's not really a great position for us. But attacks, I'm kind of wary that they might well have Team of Battle Rage under the circumstances. So we decided to block, put in all the blocks. This might have been the wrong thing to do, I suppose. Maybe we should have kept some creatures back. But I think we were just playing for the combo at this point. Maybe not the best way to go about things. Opponent plays Snapcaster, Fatal pushes the Flameblade Adept, find a Deadshot Minotaur, which isn't going to be much good for us. Flashback Faithless Looting because it digs us deeper than any other card will, but that isn't much good. And pass the turn here. So yeah, we're just pushing for our combo at this point. But attacks, cracks a Fetch, goes down to 5, and then Team of Battle Rage wraps things up there. So yeah, unfortunately not able to quite get there. Maybe we could have played things a little bit differently. Maybe we should have kept that Adept and not played for the Living End combo, and we might have been able to force through that little bit more damage. But yeah, Team of Battle Rage, certainly a scary card at this point, and something to be worried about. So let's go on to game 2. Okay, so here we are with game 2. As you can see, my hand is fairly janky. It's basically all lands, Faithless Looting, Electro Dominance. So not great. I'm not entirely sure why I didn't go for the mulligan there. But our opponent then proceeds to play 2 Leyline of the Void, which is certainly bad for us. We don't actually have any way of dealing with that in the deck because we don't splash any colours. One plays double Bauble, plays a basic Swamp. We're just going to keep cycling. Unfortunately, our cards are getting exiled, so Electrodominant's not looking super useful at the moment. But it looks like our opponent's a little bit stuck on lands here, so that's certainly good for us. And kind of pays them back for keeping a double Leyline hand. Fortunately, we're not doing too great. Draw a second Electro Dominance. We're just going to cast this this Simian Spirit Guide to try and get through some damage while our opponent's struggling. Opponent plays Fatal Push, which doesn't work. I accidentally don't play Urabrask there, which I certainly should have done. So Urabrask comes down, can get to attack for 6 here. Opponent dismembers Urabrask and plays Death Shadow, 7 power. Goes down to 5, makes an 8/8, attacks. Makes a second Death Shadow and an Angler. So I'm just going to keep cycling. So basically what we're going to look to do here, which we are doing as it went a little bit faster. We could have done it the turn earlier, but basically what we're going to look to do here is use Living End. Obviously we don't get anything back from our graveyard, given that our opponent's playing Leyline of the Void, but it's still an instant speed Wrath, which is certainly a good thing. We could have done it while our opponent was tapped out to play around Stubborn Denial, which might have been the better play, I guess, because there's no reason that their opponent's going to play anything additional onto this particular board. So I think that probably would have been better. We kind of took a bit of a risk waiting for the last moment to cast this, but as it turns out, it works out and our opponent doesn't have a counter spell. So we are going to be able to get rid of these 3 threats, and that is pretty good for us. 2 Fairy Macabre in here, which is one of our sideboard cards. Can really use this at any time to try and shrink our opponent's graveyard if we want. They're certainly not castable, so that's probably something that I should have looked at doing at an earlier stage. Obviously makes it a lot harder to cast an Angler or anything like that. I'm going to cast a Desert Cerodon here, or Cerodon, or however you say it, which is kind of an interesting play and an interesting position to be in, but needs must. So opponent plays Serum Visions, and yeah, they are down to 4. Obviously weren't able to find any way to deal with this Cerodon, and yeah, we managed to pick up the win. Even if our opponent did find a way, we're actually at a point where we can Electro Dominance for 4, because we have 6 mana. So we could have burned our opponent out as well, potentially. And dropped a Fairy Macabre onto the board, I guess, which is probably why I didn't use them. Because, yeah, technically we can actually cast that for free off the Electro Dominance. So, yeah, we had some options there. So, yeah, this is what happens, well, ideally what happens when your combo gets shut down. Obviously, not the standard way, but you can win by playing cycling creatures and attacking. Obviously, as I say, we don't splash any mana, different coloured mana, so we can't actually cast a lot of our cycling creatures. So this actually works out a lot better than perhaps it should have done. But yeah, in the end, we managed to pick up the win there, just about. So here we are with Game 3, the decider against Death Shadow. It's our opening hand. Looks pretty good. We've got Faithless Looting, Cerodon, we've got the combo Dominance into Living End, and we've got a Deadshot Minotaur. We don't have a Leyline from our opponent this time. Opponent takes Electro Dominance with the turn 1 Thoughtseize. Go into a land. And just going to pass here and probably look to cycle one of our dudes end of turn. Not really looking to Faithless Looting at this very moment. I'd like to save Faithless Looting to help cast Hollow Wands where possible. Opponent cracks. Bloodstained Mire goes down to 15. We draw a land, which isn't ideal. Find Electro Dominance, which is pretty good. I'm going to Faithless Looting here, see if we can try and find a threat. or otherwise just increase the size of our graveyard. I mean, in theory we could Electro Dominance there, but we're only making a 6/4, which I think we can play for better, push for better. We'll play Faithless Looting, pitches some lands. Mistress Bauble plays a Scalding Tarn. We get to cycle Carabid to the graveyard. It's a Bauble. We draw another Electro Dominance, and I decided to just go for it here. Opponent really doesn't have much going on, and our current board will be pretty devastating. Also, we've got Urabrask in the graveyard, so we can attack immediately. I should have definitely played this Mountain in hindsight, because Death Shadow doesn't generally play counter spells, but it does play Stubborn Denial. So, given that they've got no creatures on the board, we're not worried about the ferocious version of Stubborn Denial, but our opponent could have still just standardly cast Stubborn Denial on this, and we could have paid that if we'd put this land out. So that's what we should have done. Kind of missed a trick there, but as it turns out, our opponent doesn't have the Stubborn Denial, and we were able to put 14, 15, 17 points of power on the board, and I think that just kills our opponent. I'm not sure exactly what they had with their last 4 cards, but yeah, that's a nice, quick and decisive win for the deck, and yeah, that kind of shows the combo aspect. So kind of seen it all. We've seen the aggro side, the opponent shuts off your combo and attack with janky creatures, and we've also seen the combo work and kill our opponents. So kind of saw it all in one match here, and yeah, there will still be more to come. If you want to check some more out of this deck, watch the rest of the videos.